Meanwhile, the Federal High Court in Abuja has thrown out an appeal by the Nigerian police force to stop the planned #Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest scheduled for Monday. The police, acting on orders from the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku, filed an ex parte motion to halt the protest organized by activist Omoyele Sowore. But Justice Umar declined to issue a restraining order and adjourned the case to Tuesday, October the 21st for a full hearing. Sowore has hailed the decision as a win for civil liberties, vowing that the protest will go ahead as planned. News Central's correspondent Joshua Murai joins us from Abuja for the latest on this. Joshua, now tell us what's the latest in Abuja and what's the mood like as regards this #Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest?
Those who are agitating for this protest is Omoyele Sowore, as well as one of the team members of Nnamdi Kanu's Liberty, that is Max Okpara. What we heard today was that a suit was instituted, an ex parte motion instituted at the Federal High Court before Honorable Justice Umar Mohammed. And of course, before an ex parte order can be given against fundamental rights issues such as protest, they have to be parties that will be arguing for and against it. So, of course, Justice Muhammad Umar actually dismissed that ex parte application, saying that such case cannot be argued without the presence of the defense lawyers and that of the other side who is chasing the suit on. Of course, Justice Muhammad Umar has adjourned the case to Tuesday next week to hear argument from both parties on whether the protest should be halted or not. But as of now, Justice Muhammad Umar actually denied the request of the Nigerian police for seeking to halt the protest, the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest.
For giving us updates on that. We now have joined us now Darlington Umoru from Lagos. He is a security analyst and will give us some insight into this story. Mr. Darlington, what are your thoughts on the U.S. Embassy's warning to its citizens ahead of the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest in Abuja, and do you think it's justified?
Well, of course, it's justified. It's a norm. It's not a strange thing. It's not the first time the U.S. Embassy is advising their citizens who are resident in Nigeria to take precautions, particularly on days like a Monday that has been set aside for the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest, particularly when they are talking about taking it to the Aso Road. And in that advisory, you will discover that they said a number of things. They even advise that children should stay back at home. There should be no school on that day for fear of what would possibly happen, particularly if the protest gets out of hand and when police will now be involved. We have seen situations like that in the past where the protesters, particularly the Omoyele Sowore in this instance, would be went to ask for permission to, particularly to hold the protest. But whether you have the ability, the capacity now to monitor and control all of those who will come out for that protest is another kettle of fish. And so the American embassy is particularly concerned about her citizens. And so they have issued that advisory to ask their citizens to stay back home and then to also monitor or be conscious about movement for that day. It's a normal thing. It's not the first time the American embassy will be doing that in Nigeria.
Now, how do you think, what would your advice be right now to the Nigerian government in handling the situation surrounding Nnamdi Kanu's detention and also this upcoming protest?
Well, I think before now, the Nigerian government has delayed the issue of releasing Nnamdi Kanu, particularly where courts have issued such. I've met with all of the demands of the lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu at a point in time when they did ask that Nnamdi Kanu should be released of bail. They have also come up with issues of health, which another court has also ruled against, to say that it's not too bad for him to take treatment from the DSS camp. And so, for me, I think that government should handle this matter with utmost care so that it does not degenerate, particularly the protests. Police should follow them. They should be allowed to express whatever they want to express, but the police should be available. Follow them from any point they want to go to, particularly from the Eagle Square. The Eagle Square, again, they needed to have had permission to make use of, to convey at the Eagle Square and then move to wherever they want to move to. All of this will need the presence of police so that the peaceful protest will not degenerate into something else. That is the fear of America. That is the fear of the American embassy. And that is why the American embassy is talking to their citizens, who are particularly those of them who are residents in Abuja. So, but if police is available and you have enough men on ground to follow the protest, they will be able to, at any point, where such protests will want to degenerate, particularly when people others will want to come and hijack that protest, then they will be able to control it. But whether Sowore has been able to put on ground, I repeat, whether Sowore has been able to put on ground enough measure to ensure that what is supposed to be a peaceful protest is not hijacked, and then where properties and lives will not be endangered. It is only at such time that the police should wade in and try and stop those who will want to invade or hijack that protest. Otherwise, peaceful protests should be allowed. Nigerians should be allowed to express their opinion at times like this, to say, okay, this is what we want. It's a way of expressing themselves to the government. But taking it to Aso, that I do not know.
All right, Mr. Umaru, tell me, what implications do you think this protest could have, especially on the security situation in Abuja, and how can authorities ensure the safety of citizens and foreigners alike?
Can you take that again, please?
I'm asking you to tell me the implications you think this protest can have, especially when it comes to security situation in Abuja, and how authorities can ensure the safety of citizens and foreigners alike.
Well, first, it's an expression of opinion. What they want, they are demanding for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Again, I have said earlier that I hope, and I sincerely hope, that the protest put together by Sowore will not be hijacked by hoodlums at the end of the day. Well, if it is hijacked, then it becomes a security risk to the residents of Abuja. If it's hijacked by hoodlums, you wouldn't be able to tell the amount of damage it will cause. Of course, security agents will not fold their hands to watch if the protest is eventually hijacked by this person. But we pray so. We pray that the protest is not eventually hijacked by hoodlums. That was why I talked about measures. I don't know the measures Sowore has put in place to control all of that, because if it is hijacked by hoodlums, then it will become a threat to lives and property, particularly in Abuja, where the thing is meant to take place. Otherwise, if it's not hijacked, if it's just a match protest, then it will not carry any security risk. That's why I did advise that the police should be present. From Eagle Square to wherever they are marching to, we should have a large number of policemen who will monitor the peaceful protest to ensure that this protest is not hijacked by hoodlums. It is only when hoodlums hijack protest that it becomes a thing that will not end up claiming life and the destruction of properties and looting. But if you have Sowore and you have had enough and good security arrangement to ensure that the protest is not hijacked, otherwise it should be allowed. They should be allowed to express themselves and their opinion.
Mr. Moore, I'm sorry, but I have to interject at this point, and that's because we still have our correspondent Joshua Imarayan standby from Abuja. Joshua, Sowore claims that the court has said that the protest can still go on. Can you confirm that?
Of course. According to the message put across by Sowore on his social media handle, Justice Muhammad Umar of the Federal High Court in Abuja denied the request of the Nigerian police for seeking to stop the protest, an interim motion that was put forward before Honorable Justice Muhammad Umar, and that motion was denied. Justice Umar said that such emotion could not be granted in the absence of the party, as protesting is said to be one of the fundamental human rights that has been enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution, and denying them the opportunity to express their views as regards the protest will be some sort of a perversion of justice, that only when the other parties in court that this kind of motion can be brought, but not in form of an ex parte motion.
Let me go back to you, Mr. Umaru. Nnamdi Kanu's case has sparked, significant debate and even public outcry. Can you comment on the broader issues his dissensions, raises about human rights and especially justice in Nigeria?
It's constitutionally enshrined. If people agree about this broad, and then they want to carry out a protest. Protest is a way of drawing the attention of government to an issue, as it affects them or affects a part of the nation. And in this instance, they are demanding for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. And so, if they are going to court to demand that, ordinarily, they are supposed to go to the police and ask for permission to protest, and so that they also ask for the presence of the police. That is what the Constitution provides for. Now, if they are taking it to the court, it's a way of expressing their opinion or whatever they feel is necessary. It is constitutional, particularly in a democracy where you don't have a military junta. Even as military junta, we saw situations in this country where people had to express themselves in the course of a protest. Even the current administration, Mr. President, at a point in time was a part of several protests in this country that had to do with the democracy. You remember the Abiola saga, you remember the Jonathan saga, all of that, it was a part of several protests. And so protest is constitutional. It's a way of expressing an opinion. And so they should be allowed to express their opinion only if they can manage the situation and not allow it to get out of hand. It is only when it gets out of hand that it becomes a problem. The fear of America is that it will get out of hand, and then if you read the full text of the American embassy release, you discover that they even talked about issues where it could get to where police will begin to shoot tear gas. Well, they have to disperse them when it gets out of hand. Ordinarily, the police will only be there to monitor them to ensure or ensuring that the thing remains peaceful as they demanded.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Umaru. But before we wrap up this conversation, let me come to you, Joshua Mariah. You want to tell us, is there anything you want to say, especially as we look forward to what could happen next week as regards to protest?
Well, one of the fears raised by the Nigerian police force is that the fear that this might get out of hand and it might be hijacked by criminal elements. And of course, so earlier on today, passed a message across in the social media handle that one of the organizers of the protest, that is the person of Maxwell, Barrister Maxwell Okpara, that Barrister Maxwell Okpara actually wrote to the police force asking for men of the Nigerian police force to secure life and property as long as that protest will last. But according to what Sowore wrote earlier on his social media handle, that Barrister Maxwell Okpara was subjected to intense questioning, and according to what Sowore also put out was that the Nigerian police force says that if anything should get out of hand, Barrister Maxwell Okpara will be held responsible. But what we know is that Sowore on his own part and Barrister Maxwell Ejiofor, as well as some of the protesters, are not relenting on the Monday protest for the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu from the custody of the federal government and the DSS.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for having this conversation with me.